there, my lovelies. Welcome back. How are you doing today? Fabulous, amazing, copacetic, wonderful. Today, I don't work until 10, so I figured I have an extra hour in the morning, so I slept in for like 15 minutes of that, and then I figured, why not get up, you know, do a little bit of work that isn't work that I don't get paid for, shall we call it. So, I want to hop on here today and I want to talk about how we seem to think that we have moved away from the 2016 makeup influencer collection, but we actually haven't. And if anything, it's become more normalized. But first, I just realized I think I'm slightly crooked. There. Okay, now I feel like it might be the other way. I don't care. If I'm crooked throughout all this, I am very, very sorry. So we're just gonna start off with the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer. I don't particularly like this thing, but it's the only primer in my collection, and I refuse to buy another one until I'm done with this one. So what can you do? Well, I could buy another primer, but I'm not going to, and I will suffer for the next, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. However long it takes me to finish up this one, it's so funny. I know this is like everyone's favorite primer, and so when I ran out of my last primer, right as this one was launching, like doing the relaunch, I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. I can buy this one and try it out and not go over my one primer budget. I hate it. I hate it so much. If you are someone who does not have a lot of time in the mornings to get ready, this thing is going to be your worst enemy because it takes like 15 minutes to settle into your skin. And if you give it any less than that, you will not be able to blend jack on top of it. Also, I do ask that we excuse the very like raspy voice. These are the first words that I have spoken this entire morning. I like literally just got up. Well, not like just got up, but like I just got out of bed, threw on my work clothes, and sat down here. Technically, I made some coffee for myself first. Get a beverage yourself. We can get ready in the morning, have some coffee, and chit chat about overconsumption. Although I can't remember if I did like a talk about the whole underconsumption core thing, but at this point, I feel like it's gone and past. So we'll let it go. In my personal opinion, I think it was a trend. I don't think it was actual underconsumption, because what is actual underconsumption? Like, actual underconsumption is buying nothing. Like, actual underconsumption would be I don't buy makeup because I don't need to. That would be underconsumption. Underconsumption would be living in a studio apartment, eating the most affordable, eco-friendly food ever, and drinking only enough water to survive, and wearing the exact same articles of clothing every single day. Like, I think a closet full of 5-year-old clothes is just normal. I don't want to be like the unpopular opinion person here, but yeah, no, all the underconsumption was really just normal consumption, but we're not here to talk about that today. We are here to talk about overconsumption and how it's kind of been normalized within the beauty space, even if you're not an influencer. But also in the whole, a lot of people are thinking that we're over these days of the 2010, well, not 2010, 2016 makeup guru of having 100 blushes or 200 blushes. And we're not. You still see that with like everyday influencers, like Lauren May Beauty did a blush declutter. I think there were 200 blushes in that. Like, there are people who still have so many blushes they would not be able to use all of them twice in a year, just feasibly. The same goes for eyeshadows. Now, I'm not calling anyone out here. It's just these are creators who I don't maybe not watch, but they come up on my feed, and yeah, if I see a video from them that looks interesting, I will click on it, but I don't religiously watch these people. But like, You guys know what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to call anyone out here. I'm just using them as examples. And an example I have for like eyeshadows is Heather Austin. I believe I saw her declutter, and I think it's like 300 plus eyeshadows, and these eyeshadows are years old. They're eyeshadows where there is like no feasible way that she could use each palette more than once in a year. And what that probably means is she's using her favorite maybe 10 to 50 a lot in a year, and then just kind of not touching the other ones. And don't get me wrong, I am guilty of this too. I fell into the 2010s. Well, this was the late 2010s when I kind of started to get a little bit of money from like, babysitting or, doing stuff for like random neighbors. Y'all know what I mean. Like when you get like that, like early teenage money. Like there's teenager money, there's like early teenager money, and then there's adult money. And this is kind of when I had the early teenager money, I fell into the trap of, buying like a lot with all the money that I came into. Because what else was I supposed to do? Save it for when I'm an adult? No, that's boring. That's gross. And I think this is something a lot of people have like fell into when they were around that age. Like, they'd get a 10 for their birthday, and they would, go to Ulta and spend it on something, like an eyeshadow palette from Makeup Revolution or from e.l.f. or from Wet n Wild, something like that, where maybe it wasn't the highest quality, but it was affordable and you could still overconsume, like, without breaking the bank. I remember specifically when I was a kid, it wasn't about, oh, well, like, how high quality is this? It's how much of this can I get, when I would go into Ulta after Christmas or my birthday, or, after I just like kind of, when you're a kid and you get money, you want to spend it, But that's definitely something where I've differed in nowadays. I don't buy a lot of makeup, but I'm kind of starting to get into like quality makeup. And now, like today, the drugstore makeup is good. Specifically, if you buy the more, I don't know, quote unquote expensive drugstore makeup, the Juvia's Place or the NYX makeup, or I don't know, what's another one. I like Moira Cosmetics. I think they have pretty good like quality, but they're still also a little bit more expensive. Kind of like that. An eyeshadow palette is 20 bucks instead of 10 bucks range. A blush is 12 instead of 6. You guys kind of know what I'm talking about, where it's still affordable. It's not mid-range, because mid-range is like, maybe 30 bucks for a blush, and then high end is 40, and then luxury is like 60, but I don't know, that's how I classify it. Like these whole lines are kind of blurred, but the upper drugstore is kind of where I've been buying from recently. And I did recently buy my very first like not luxury, but like high-end product. I purchased the original Naked palette from Urban Decay on the relaunch, and that is the first eyeshadow palette that I bought all year, and we're in August, which is definitely a huge change from how it used to be for me whenever I'd have money. And I now have like late teenager money. I'm graduated. I work like 25 to 30 hours a week at an Olive Garden, and I have no financial responsibilities because I'm still 17, so it's not like I can move out. I don't have any bills to pay. I have a car. That's about it. I have a car and like nothing else. And even the car, like my parents still help me out with it because they help out my sister. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but my sister works 3 days a week at a nail salon and has a baby. Like, I'm grateful. But at the same time, I feel like you're trying to help me out on the same scale that you help out my sister. And it's like, it doesn't make sense, like, not to sound ungrateful, but I'm kind of just like, but why are you giving me, I don't know, it's kind of like equality versus equity, or yeah, is that it? Equality versus like there's equality, right? Everyone gets the same, and then there's like everyone getting what they need, and I'm a socialist, so obviously yes, everyone should have the same rights, but at the same time in terms of like help. People who need more help should get more help. You know, in my mind, I don't know how we got here. I'm sorry, I have not had enough coffee. As I was kind of saying, as I've gotten a little bit older, I purchase less, but I purchase more mindfully. I look for quality or sentimental value over, well, I could get 2 eyeshadows palettes for 20 bucks total, or I could get one for 30 bucks. Like, which of these am I going to do? Now, I would choose the 30-buck option because that's probably higher quality. I would probably use less of it overall, like in like the long run, like every single time I dip my brush in. And also, it would probably just be a bit more of an enjoyable experience. I also look at color story, saying, do I really need this? You know, I look at, is it limited edition, and how much have I wanted this or something like this in the past and then not gotten it. For example, that's what I did with the original Naked palette. I had wanted it for a really long time, but it was discontinued, and it was one of those products where I was like, maybe I'll buy this off of like Macari, or I don't know, Reliked, I think is another one, you know, some sort of secondhand makeup place. But at the same time, it's going to be so old. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that. So I kind of, you know, gave up on the idea of the original Naked palette. And then, you know, it came back and I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it. I haven't bought eyeshadow in like 8 months. So I'm going to buy it, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. I'm going to enjoy it. Because I work hard. I save 90% of my money. Let me spend the other 10% how I want to. So yeah, that was kind of like my thought process on it. But this is not the thought process that a lot of people have. I think we're in this thought process nowadays of like, oh, well, I want it, so I'll buy it because I can buy it. Like, oh, if it won't put me into credit card debt, I will buy it. And this is even outside of influencers. But with influencers, it's even worse because there's this mentality of, I want it, I can make money off of it, I'll buy it. But at the same time, when are you going to use it again? It's kind of like when people buy a makeup product for a YouTube video, expecting it to be bad, and then just throw it away. I can't stand that. Like, no. One of my favorite YouTubers, actually, Jen Love, is, I kind of respect her because she's taken herself off of a lot of PR lists because she's not doing review anymore. She does commentary, and yes, she'll still buy products if she wants them, but she kind of says, look, I'm no longer doing reviews. If you send this to me, it's not going to help your channel. Well, not your channel, but your company. And also, she talks about how much makeup she has and how she just has so much. And I kind of respect her for it. I don't know. I think it's something that a lot more influencers need to kind of look into, of how much makeup are you bringing in? Because we act as though we're over this age of having, you know, 600 like lipsticks or something, but we're not. We're totally not. If anything, it's just that the average person is now owning 20, and so the numbers are getting a little bit skewed, you know? It's like we've always expected influencers and makeup creators and, you know, other forms of content creators to have so much more than us by, like, I don't know, a certain percentage or something, or a certain multiplication. As our own collections have grown in size and they've gone more extensive and expansive, we've stopped realizing how screwed it is that these people own so much. And in my opinion, it's just gluttony and lust. It's just, I hate it. Like, if you can't tell, I really, really hate it. If you don't know, I'm an author, and one of the nonfiction books that I am kind of playing around with and drafting in the background is like how the 7 deadly sins, because I'm also a Christian, so, you know, obviously that plays a big part of my life, but how the 7 deadly sins contribute to climate change. And in my opinion, lust, gluttony, and sloth are like the number 3. It's not so much like gluttony in the sense of food and lust in the sense of, another person. It is definitely just gluttony and lust in the terms of over consuming in our world. Another one is envy. We see these collections and we're like, oh my gosh, I want that much stuff. And for one thing, my mother has an Amazon problem. Okay, she might be a hoarder. I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist. I can't diagnose her with anything. But everyone in my family kind of jokes about this. Me and all my siblings kind of joke about this. And here's the thing. I was raised in a household with a lot of stuff. It's stressful as fuck. Okay, because your entire world is just chaos. And it's chaos that you cannot get a handle on. And because of this chaos, you buy more stuff. Because you're thinking, oh, well, if I buy this organizer, it's going to help with this chaos. No, it just adds to the chaos. It just makes even more chaos. It just adds to it. Okay, owning that much stuff is stressful because it's so much clutter. It's so much for your mind to process. And let's not even get into like the perpetual guilt of knowing you have consumed this much and that you're never going to use all of it. I mean, it is stressful, like, to live in a household with that much clutter. And I know this might sound like just so horrible, but sometimes I do feel bad for like the kids of these beauty creators who are constantly doing hauls and constantly doing declutters because just that much stuff that's just constantly coming and going and coming and going. And it's not just the stuff, it's the packaging that it has like to come in. Like the number of boxes has to just be overwhelming. And a part of me feels bad for these kids because I'm like, oh my god, that is so much. Like that is so much just clutter in their household, and they're growing up in this chaos. Like I'm autistic, so I like to have very neat, organized stuff. I like everything to have order because it makes it easier for my brain, which, obviously has some developmental issues, to process everything. And when I don't have that order and chaos, I am stressed. Like stressed. Okay? And I personally am working through my former overconsumption days. I am also on not just a beauty no buy, but a book no buy. I love thrifting books. I love to read just as like an end of the night. It's been a long day at work. I don't want to write, but I want something still involving words, so I'll sit down and I'll read. But something I've kind of noticed is I have so many books that I don't have a place to put them all. And people kind of know to either give me, like for like Christmas or my birthday, makeup or books. Well, right now I'm not wanting makeup or books. I'm wanting to get rid of makeup and books. But I'm working through all of this and I'm starting to feel just so much more relief as I slowly realize that these products are getting used, these books are getting read, and soon they will be out of my life. My goal is to cut down the stuff that I own until eventually I can be a little bit more of a minimalist, and also moving, when I do eventually move out, will be so much easier because I have lived in this house since I was 2. And yes, I've moved rooms. I used to live, in the same room as my sister. There were 6 of us kids, and so, obviously we have a big house, but 2 of those kids have moved out, and one of them has unfortunately passed on. And so it's like, when before it was like 2 kids in a room, now it's 1 kid per room. And so obviously, I've moved rooms and stuff, and I think I've moved rooms twice since I've lived in this house. Once when I was 8, and after my sister unfortunately passed, my brother moved into her room, and then one of the other brothers moved into my other brother's old room. Like, I had like my oldest brother moved out about a year before my oldest sister passed. So the twin brothers moved into each of their rooms after a little bit. Um, like obviously the two had to live in separate rooms because the sister had a lot of medical equipment. She was a shaken baby, and so she had a lot of medical equipment. You know, obviously, like there were times when she needed help in the middle of the night, so it was just best to keep them in separate rooms. You know, so that way the oldest brother could still live a semi-functioning life. But I've moved twice since I've like in this house. I've moved rooms twice, and so obviously I've gotten rid of some stuff in that process, but like I still own so much, and especially this room. I've lived in this room since 2021. No, yes, fall 2021, because I got my dog in 2021, and then she slept with me in my old room for a couple months before my oldest brother went off to college. Not my oldest, my youngest brother went off to college, and so then I moved into his room. A whole load of long story, I know, but like obviously during that, you know, I got rid of some stuff. You know, I went through, I decluttered. Oh my gosh, I've been talking for so long that my concealer has like set in place. Whoops. But like, you know, obviously in that process, I went through and I got rid of some stuff. Well, that was 3 years ago, so stuff has accumulated again, you know? And also, I feel like my tastes haven't changed that much in 3 years. Like 3 years ago, the only thing that I've added in is I now love like button-up shirts and button-up blouses. Back then I was a huge like flannel and like jeans and a t-shirt kind of person. I still am. I still love that vibe, but I was huge into 90s grunge back then. Like the subculture, the everything. I loved grunge. Kurt Cobain was my hero. um, and like I would literally listen to like 90s grunge, like Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, obviously, like in my headphones as I would, you know, draw and write at night. Soundgarden was another one that I really liked. But just like my tastes haven't changed that much too, which I think makes it even harder because like I will still, you know, use all this stuff that I've had for years. Like, I don't know. There are a lot of people who, as they kind of grow and get older, their tastes like change like a lot. Like, I don't want to say horrendously, but like a shocking amount. I'm not like that. Like, I still like books that I read in 2021. I still like the fashion that I read in 2021. I think, I don't know, 2021, I definitely credit as the year that I really found myself. And so I think when you find yourself, there's a certain sense of also overconsumption because you buy so much and like it's like you found this new person and you finally realize I'm not this person who got put in all of these boxes. And for me it was, I think, an even worse thing because I grew up Mormon. I grew up like, you know, in a fundamentalist Christian church. Some people will say it's not a fundamentalist church. Okay, well then it's a very strict church. It is. Like, I grew up hearing women slut shame their daughters for wearing skirts that are too short. My mother can deny that she did this, but I have a very strict memory of her doing this with another woman. I still feel horrible for A, not standing up for my sister and that one girl, but for my sister and that one girl who my mothers were just talking about how their daughters wear such skimpy little shorts, like not shorts, skirts. It's like, oh my god, you are horrible. Like, obviously I'm not calling them horrible people, but it was kind of like, oh my god, this is horrible. Why are you saying these things about your daughter? And even at the time, I felt so uncomfortable. But I don't know, I found myself and I realized, A, with these like rules that I've been put in, you know, this very much you have to be feminine, you have to wear skirts every Sunday. Well, one, I didn't like skirts. Like back then, I hated skirts because they felt so confining and like I was being told this is how you are a woman, you know? And even then, it's like, even now, it's like, I'm not entirely 100% attached to this idea of womanhood, because the idea of womanhood that I was put into is this idea of womanhood that I don't vibe with, I don't align with. So yeah, if that's your idea of womanhood, then no, maybe I'm not a complete woman. You know, like, that's the thing. Gender, it's like so complicated, and it's so funny because there's a whole Algerian boxer situation happening right now, and all the conservatives are finally like, well, there's more to gender than just chromosomes and the sex we were assigned at birth. And it's like, really? Really? Wow, what have we been saying all these years? Sorry, I have like something on my fingernail, and not like on my fingernail, but like on like my knuckle that really itches, and it's annoying. I don't know. I did dish like 2 days ago. Like, not like the dishes, but like dish in the restaurant, and now like my hands just hurt because they were so uncomfortably hot. What am I even talking about at this point? I think I'm just kind of rambling as I do my makeup about how overconsumption has in fact ruined like everything, and how it just provides more stress to your life than freedom. And obviously I'm not saying that minimalism is going to bring you joy. No, I think it's very much about like having this sense of balance, whatever that balance is for you. And for me, that balance is only having stuff that I love and enjoy, or stuff that has value to it. For example, right up here, my windowsill, I have so many stress balls and like fidget toys and like just stress relieving, you know, like stress squeezies, I guess we'd call them. But they all have value because these are all things that my dad has gotten for me, and one of them I made in the mental hospital as like an activity for coping. But they have value to them, and so I love to keep them there and just kind of see them and remember that, oh hey, my dad thought about me, and so he brought home all of these stress balls. And 2 of them are actually duplicates of the stress ball that I broke the night that my niece was born. And so those are things I have consumed that add so much value to my life, and I love to be able to see them. But then there's stuff like this, where it's stuff that I've just kind of been forced into my life. This is old school books that I still need to get rid of. Back there is crocheting, and then just some like drawing stuff. And I don't mind that. Like those last 2 ones, this first one brings me an unprecedented amount of stress. Same with a lot of the stuff up here. Like you can see we have our Bible, we have our tea mug, we have my diploma, and then we just have some random shit back there that I just have and I want to get rid of. And there's just so much of that stuff in my room. And this is where I think overconsumption has been phrased as almost like this quirky, fun, well, look at all the things you can own. Look at all the things that you can have, and it's gonna bring you so much joy, and you need this product, you need this blush, you need this dress, you need X, Y, and Z. And no, you don't. You don't need everything, and everything is not going to make your life better. So I'm going to pause this recording. I'm going to finish up my makeup because I am starting to run out of time, so I need to like hurry and stop talking. Okay, I need to shut up, and then I will be back. All right, so this is a finished look. This has been my go-to daily work look for the past, I don't know, like month. Yeah, about that, a little less than that, but I think it's beautiful. I love it. It is literally one of my more complicated ones too, because the crease shade is 2 shades mixed together, and the lid shade is 2 shades mixed together. So nothing in this look is simple, but, well, I mean, it's simple, but it's like they're all shades that are just like right next to each other in the palettes though, so that makes it easy. But I've had a wonderful time talking about overconsumption, how it's personally affected me. If you would be so willing, please share how overconsumption has affected you down in the comment section below. I have to go get breakfast because I'm starving, and yeah, I'm very hungry. I haven't eaten since last night, so I haven't eaten this morning. I'm just hungry, to say the least. But I will see you next time. I believe we're going to talk about unrealistic makeup reviews, because this is something that's been really bothering me, is when people are like, I mean, this foundation looks great. You can wear it for like up to 4 hours. And it's like, Yeah, see, that's like a short shift in a restaurant. Most of our shifts are like 6, 7, 8. Doesn't even include the office job people who it's a minimum of 8. I'm sorry, but that is not enough. Like, let's not even talk about these unrealistic makeup reviews where it's like, oh yeah, I put this on at like 1 in the afternoon and it's like 6 and it still looks really good. Cool, how does this help me? Because I'm putting on my makeup at, 7:45 in the morning and taking it off at like 8 o'clock at night. It's not gonna help me. Anyway, that will be for next time. That'll be a rant for next time. I was just thinking about intermittent fasting, and it clicked in my mind. Well, it came up in my mind. I already wanted to make a video on it. But I will see you then. I hope you have a wonderful, fabulous, amazing tubular. I don't know. I hope your day is everything that you want your day to be, and I will see you in the next one.